introduce yourself to me.
My name is Terri Craig, and contrary to part of your introduction, I'm actually not a veteran, but I'm here to support all the female veterans in the room. I've not even had anyone in my immediate family that's been a vet, and I have just been absolutely blown away by being in this community of women.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people believe that if they're not veterans, that they can't reach out. A lot of people believe that they have not served, that they can't be a part of what it is to heal. And I'm so happy to have someone like yourself and many other people who get involved, because it is one big family. This is the United States of America, and it's about being united, and it's about helping each other heal. And in the private sector, and as a private sector person with a lot of military in my family and around me, and my son, 4 years of ROTC, Air Force, what's the future like for the next generation of soldier too, right? And so I applaud you for what you're doing. And tell a little bit about what you're doing and why you're here, and talk about the event.
I participated in the business boot camp. I was one of the instructors, and I had an opportunity to just share my wisdom, which I'm a marketing expert, and so I spent a lot of time sharing tips and thoughts and tricks and strategies and with the women that participated in those sessions. What I'm doing here, I've known Cassandra and Victoria and Allie and Andrea for quite some time, and I've talked with them on so many occasions about F7 Group and what F7 Group was about, and I've kind of been on that perimeter. See, I'm learning some of the lingo. I've kind of been out on that perimeter, and I've been observing what they're doing and wanting to get involved, but not knowing if I really want to get involved and all that. And so this is my first retreat. And I came here with high expectations of what I was going to learn, not only from the experience for myself, but what I was going to be able to share with others. And my expectations have been blown through the roof. I mean, I'm amazed at what I've gotten out of this weekend thus far. So,
what do you think, to the average people out there, and you're speaking to them all over the world, really, right now? What do people need to know about the ladies that you've met here that people don't understand about women who've served and women who have given all, as some come back wounded on the inside also as much as the outside? Some things, we talk about PTSD, which thank God we'll be dropping the D soon because it's not a disorder. But talk about what you've learned about those ladies.
First and foremost, one of the things that I have learned is that everyone as an individual has had a unique experience as it relates to being in the military. And but when I kind of peel away the layers, and I don't want to in any way, shape, or form appear to be trying to take away from their story, when it all comes down to it, we're women. That's the one thing we have in common. I'm not a mom, I am a wife, but again, I don't have that whole military dimension to myself. But when I can relate to all of these women in the room as women, and they can relate to me as women, and in the case of those that have businesses, we can relate to each other as business women, then that helped me to bridge the gap initially, and it allowed us to become more open with each other and talk about other things.
Well, we're in a very unique time right now in the world. I got an interesting thing that I pulled up. There was a study that ended in 2009, and here's an interesting stat. Over the past 30 years, women have entered the military in ever-increasing numbers. Ultimately, those women will make the transition from service member to veteran. This started in 2009. Women comprised 8% of the total veteran population in the United States. By 2035, they are projected to make up 15% of all living veterans. That's a huge number. And I think it's one of the best things to happen to the United States military, to have women involved. I think we need to have more women involved because there is a nature that women have that men don't have, and vice versa.
Well, can I tap onto that? Because the other thing that I've seen a lot is, in a lot of ways, these women have given their all, whether they are a military wife or they are the one that participated, that was a veteran or is a veteran. And the reality is this community, it's really sad, they're growing in numbers, yet it's the most underserved. And, you know, and so we need to find more and more and more ways that we can continue to serve this community that deserves that so much.
Absolutely. When I've traveled all over the state and I've spoken at many different events and I've spoken to countless numbers of veterans and their families, the uniqueness about what's going on today is you're right, is the amount of women that there are in the armed forces and the impact that they're making. And also the impact when we come back too, okay? Because we have to make sure that we're building a society, okay? And I mean building a society, because it's not that great at taking veterans back. That's why what F7's doing about getting people back to work, understanding how people can be retrained or go to work for companies that are veteran friendly, where people can become entrepreneurs, where we in this country have a very interesting time, we the people, okay? That we're cycling soldiers like no time before. We are on multiple fronts, and so we have many people that are seeing that are serving, that are seeing tour after tour after tour. And when they come back, we in society, and those of us who are not veterans in the room today, we have to make sure that we understand that we need to design a world that accepts people back from where we send them. And in the past, we did not do a great job in this country. Go ahead.
And we're still not doing a great job.
Absolutely right.
But the other thing about this community, and I'm not pointing at anyone in particular, is it is a proud community. And we as women have a hard time asking for help. I don't care if you've been in the military or not. We as women have a hard time asking for help. So then you add the whole military dimension on top of it, and it's even more difficult, because when they're in that role, they're expected to handle it. And so it even I think makes it even more difficult for some of the women in that community to just say, I can't handle it, I need help. Can you help me?
Absolutely. There's a huge, I've noticed that what the people that I speak with is that there is a fear. On the men's side also, there's also a fear. There's a fear of reaching out because there's a stigma that gets put on the person. They tend to have to carry it with them, okay? You know, the term PTSD, you know, I'm involved with an organization called Heroes Night Out, and we deal with it a lot. And the reality is that it's that percentage now. Now it's not only that you have something called PTSD, now you have the percentage of it, and then once you get to a certain percentage, then they can take your rights away, and then, hey, guess what? You served in the Army, you served in the Marines, whatever branch you served in, now we're going to take your guns away too.
Absolutely.
Well, that's not a great feeling to somebody who served to defend those rights. So what happens is we put these bars in place, these hurdles, these roadblocks, all these things that stop somebody, and they're really bad rules is what they are. They're bad government policies, bad rules that we're putting in place that's stopping people from getting the help that they should get. So we have to be very, very mindful of the mindset of people who go out there so we can sit here and do this. We're broadcasting in a free enterprise world. This is one of the only places on earth that we can do this. And it's because of our armed forces. The U.S. Constitution, we the people, you're hearing a lot of it, right, with the Tea Party, and obviously the elections are coming. They're like here. And you hear the Democrats and Republicans, and they're all talking. But the number one thing that we're supposed to do in this country is defend this country, to defend the border, to defend the sovereignty, to defend what it is to be America. So when you're overseas and you have a patch and it says, you know, it has a flag on it, it means something. And you stand tall and you stand proud. And we have to make sure that we never forget what we're really supposed to be doing with our armed forces. Our armed forces is specifically designed to defend us, the American people, first, and our borders and our sovereignty. And because we have went down a lot of different roads, and we've redefined what we do in this country military, we went even from the War Department to the Defense Department. The War Department used to fight wars, and it used to win wars. And now the Defense Department goes in a lot of places and does a lot of defending, but we tend to not defend here at home. And moms, that's mom's job. Mothers, my mother defended my house. Now my dad's a big guy, 6'3", 240 pounds, but make no mistake, my mother, a full-blood Italian, okay? Put your hands together for the Italians, please. I mean, I look Italian, don't I? I mean, I'm half Italian here, you know? The Sicilian in the room, wait a minute, I saw some of this. Because I'm Northern Genoese, you know, and that's a story, because you get those two together and they're, yeah. Yes, it is. But, you know, but the fact of the matter is, we are in a very unique time, and you coming up here and sharing really why you care. And I hate to sit back, oh, it's because of America and American citizens. It is because of that. It's because we're here to defend now our homeland, our families. Moms are unique individuals. Moms are the greatest thing to ever be, in my opinion. I'm married, and women obviously are right there, because it's hard to be a mom without being a woman. Now one day, I don't know, there's new technologies. But the fact of the matter is, we're in a very blessed time right now, because we still have the ability to communicate, we have the ability to look at each other, we have the ability to listen to each other. And when a citizen stands up and says, I'm going to get involved, I'm going to tear down the barrier between the veteran or the service member and you or I or anybody else who hasn't served in the military. We're all family and we're all here together, and moms are the most special thing that we have, because they're the ones who, in my opinion, give us the rhythm. The rhythm in the family, and the rhythm in our life, and the rhythm in our households. And without women being able to be women, I don't think this world is a better place because of that. It becomes a darker place. So I applaud women who come and defend each other, stand up arm in arm with each other, and allow a man in the room. That's another thing.
Well, you know, it's so funny when you said come into the room and support each other and defend each other, etc. I said a little while ago, while I didn't have this mic in front of me anyway, you know, one of the things that I experienced is I did do the zip line that you're too chicken to do.
Well, yeah, okay, you're right. You see? I need a strong woman to get me on the line.
Now let me tell you, I was in tears just watching others go. I was starting to shake, well, when I got moved to the front of the line. I literally, because how tall is that stupid pool? I almost said something not so good. How tall is that pole you got to climb? I don't know. But anyway, you got to climb this telephone pole, you know, and so there were at least 4 times on my journey up to the platform that I was ready to say, in fact, I did say, I can't do it. I was ready to climb right back down. I was ready actually to say, I wonder if this safety rope will hold me if I just jump at this point back to the ground. Because I didn't even want to go through the effort to climb it back down. So, you know, I had trouble getting onto the platform. Okay, I have to say this, I'll be 56 years old in November. And so that isn't, you know, it's just not something that I thought I'd be doing at this point in time in my life. Every time I was ready to either give up or become nauseous, I cannot tell you how many women on the ground below me every time. They kept saying, don't look down, but every time they're yelling at me, and I wanted to look down just to say, okay, yeah, you're right, okay, I can do it, I can do it. So I was looking down for that. They were surrounding me. One person even backed up and sat in a cactus because she was trying to support me so much. I was petrified, but they cheered me on, they kept me going, they kept me taking that one more step, until I I did it. I did it. And I'm literally still shaking on the inside from it because it was that much of an experience for me. But I wouldn't have done it without the support of the people that were on the ground. On the ground. That's another.
Well, you know what? That's very well said, because ultimately it goes back to we're all in this together. It's very, very hard to get through life alone. And those of us who try should not. I've met many people one day at barbecues and welcome home events, or where we're focusing on, you know, sniper friends out there battling what they've battled and come back, and they put a smile on, and then one man one day, the next day, was gone. And it wasn't because he was hit by a car, it's because he took his own life. He felt he was alone. We have to make sure that we look at each other and tell every one of us that we're not alone. No matter what anybody says, no matter what, I don't care what the background is of each individual, no one's alone. We have to get rid of that dark place in the brightest place on earth, which is America. And this, and what F7 does, and what Victoria does, and when she calls me, she goes, "Hey, Craig," or I think she Facebooked me. That's the new thing, by the way. No one calls anymore. It's Facebook or tweeted. All right. And she says, you know, "Hey, we're doing this. Can you come out?" I said, "You know what? I'll be there and do whatever I can do." Because all we can do is do the best we can to pull out our flashlight and shine the light. And then together, we all turn them on, and we look around for the people who feel that they're alone and let them know that they're not. I believe we're going to be a much better society, and that's what F7's doing. And I'm very excited to see you grow and to see what you're doing. It's a great thing. And I want to put hands together again for F7.
I would like to say one more thing before I acquiesce the microphone to someone else, and that is F7 Group needs more visibility, and I know you've got listeners, as you said, across the world. I am a lover of NFL football, and I see big companies backing advertising, sponsoring, etc., football games. And the reality is, you know, those companies need to be putting their money in F7. And so we need to help spread the word. And, you know, I know all of the women in this room are advocates and promoters of F7. But those companies that are delving out those thousands of dollars for, you know, NFL game advertising or cups or T-shirts or whatever, dang it, it's time that we get some of that money funneled to F7. And
there you go. And the way that happens is by people standing up and saying, "Hey, you over there, Coca-Cola." I like Coca-Cola. What are you doing? Not in a mean way, not in a condescending way, to flex our capitalist muscle. To say, if you want me to spend money with you, then support the things that matter for us. Right. That's the key. Making sure that, listen, one of the most powerful things we have in this country is the ability to vote. No doubt about that. And everyone should vote. Everybody. The other one is how we spend our money. In a capitalist society, money means something. Now, the lack of money, I always say to my nonprofit friends, and I've got a few, how do you make your money? You make your money from people who make money. So the best thing that we can do is put the best, most powerful message out to get people to pay attention, but ultimately those corporate people, they pay attention to you. Yeah. They pay attention to where you spend your money and what you talk about. And that's why Facebook and Twitter and all these, listen, it goes on and on, web broadcasting, YouTube, I mean, all this stuff, right? In the end, if you make your voice heard, they will show up. The same at the ballot box. If you make your voice heard and demand things to be better, and you demand it, and when 52% of the people in this country vote and that's it, we're not demanding it. And far less reach out to push corporate America to spend money to support organizations like F7.
And it's also about leverage.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
about leverage because every one of us can do our little individual efforts, but when we get a bigger entity like an F7 group or like these huge corporations to get on the bandwagon with us, we can do so much more.
Absolutely right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Put your hands together, please.